Hi y'all, this is part 2 of sharing some more things about me personally. I was born in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And I have lived in Tampa, Florida. I've lived in parts of Maryland. But most of my time has been spent in my home, Washington, D.C. There's a lot to do here, y'all. And a lot of things that we do here don't cost any money. Like the museums mostly are free. The zoo entry is free, just paying for parking. We have loads of things to do in the nightlife and the day life. We have generous park spaces, and I love to commune with nature, so I commune with nature quite a bit, especially in the mornings before it gets real involved as far as traffic flow, foot traffic, and the noises that accompany the later parts of the daytime. I'm the baby of my family, and people that know me recognize that that is the case, because I have been known to have a spoiled type of posture. Ooh. And I'm a moon baby. I was born on a Monday, y'all, 1:58 p.m. So me and the moon have a love affair. Of course, because we have that in common. And I love spending time watching the moon and, again, being out in nature with the trees and the plants and the flowers and the earth and so forth. And I have a strong attraction to fire. Yes, because I have a lot of fire in me. Fire in my bones, y'all. Dragon action going on up in here, up in here. Yes, indeed. And I have been married. I am divorced, and I was divorced before my ex-husband passed away. We remain friends, and I tell people when they ask about us, I would say he's a beautiful person, and I'm a beautiful person. We stopped being beautiful together. So I never remarried, and I haven't found anyone that warrants that quote-unquote privilege. One day I was walking down the street, and this guy approached me. He said, are you looking for Mr. Right? I said, no, Mr. Right is looking for me. And he and I both bust out laughing. And I've had some long-term relationships, that span in excess of 5 years, but no more matrimonial activities. And in fact, if I do get remarried again, I'm not going to do it with the government paper certificate type of thing, because that I have found is not necessary. But those who indulge in that manner, more power to you. I do believe in having some legal measures in place, like having some things notarized and some legal paperwork drawn up so I can, get his possessions and he can get mine, so that'll be a legal tie-up, a contractual agreement of sorts, just to make sure things are firmed up in case something happens to one of us. But other than that, I'm not going the government certificate route anymore. And I was a wild child back in the day when I was growing up. I was one of my mother's problem children. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade, not because I was pregnant or anything like that. I dropped out because I wanted to be cool. Now y'all know how stupid that was, but back then I thought I was too cool for school. I wanted to hang out and get high. I used to shoot dope, smoke herb. I used to wake up in the morning smoking a joint for breakfast. Smoked herb all through the day. Yeah, I was a pothead back in the day, y'all. And so I eventually got my act together. My mother passed away when I was a teenager. And it rocked my world because I was on a serious guilt trip because my mother had issues with my rebellion. I'm here to tell y'all. Woo! That was drama. So anyway, it took me about a couple of years to get over the guilt, and I had to cry and tell Mama I was sorry, and I just wept, and I was just broken because she died without having seen me become a success. So anyway, that spurred me to get my act together. I gave the drugs up and everything. I don't think I gave the pot up right away, but later on I gave the pot up. Got a job in the government with the government health care and the government benefits. Had me a good government job, y'all, you know what I'm saying? I worked for the federal government, and then I worked for the city government, then I worked for the private sector. I worked as a temp. So I've been there. I was a purchasing agent doing procurement. I was a customer service specialist. and so on and so forth. And my favorite job, though, was the customer service specialist. I got awards for that. I got a mayor's presentation for my excellent customer service skills and my work ethic and so forth and so on. And so my journey, you all know I was a Christian, one of those, borderline fanatical Christians, and then I got into metaphysics and so forth and so on. So as far as metaphysics, for me, I can't speak for anybody else because we all have our unique journeys. The foundational, fundamental aspects of metaphysics for me are daily meditation. I mean, I stress that, I urge that, I encourage that firmly because that's when I get some of my best downloads as far as guidance and alerts and warnings and new creative ideas. I mean, to tell you, I get a writing and so forth. I'm a licensed writer and editor anyhow, so it helps me in that arena for my clients that I write for and edit for. Yes, indeed. That meditation gives a boost, I'm telling y'all now. And so I love candle magic, different colors. I love color magic, getting more into the influences of the planets, what colors correspond with what planets, and what herbs and incenses correspond with what planets, because the planets, people, rule. If you don't know about astrology beyond the general basic aspects of it, I encourage you to learn about astrology because you can find out your precise placement in the cosmos, your unique journey, by digging more into specifically what is suitable for your category in astrology. Get your birth chart done. And a lot of people focus on the birth charts, but there are also charts that are called progress charts, which tell you about what has occurred since your birth dates and as you progress on in age and in life and going through various experiences and ordeals. So you can get progress charts done as well, and they're free online too. And I just found out something the other day that pretty much blew my mind. I want to tell y'all, that people that don't have certain crystals, in particular, I was focused on the clear quartz crystal skulls. And I'm talking about those that are, if they're not life-size, they're maybe half life-size in diameter. So I was meditating the other day, and it came to me, go online in the Google Images area and find some pictures of the larger clear quartz crystal skulls. And I found some, and I screenshot a couple, and one in particular I put on my iPad, and I was meditating the other day after I screenshotted and loaded it on there, and I was staring into the eyes of that photo, and I could not believe until it happened to me that you don't necessarily have to have the physical quartz crystal skull. It could apply to other crystal aspects as well, but this case is talking about what I experienced personally the other day. Just looking at the picture, the transmission of the crystal power and the strength came off the screen and was deposited into me. I felt the generation of it hitting me, and I was looking at it, and it was talking to me. Oh, as crystals do communicate and talk when we align with their frequency and their channels. I mean to tell y'all, don't take my word for it, try it. Woo! So the day I went out with my sister, and I was waiting in the car when she went into a store to do an errand, and I whipped out that iPad and I pulled that picture up again. I was looking at it while I was sitting in the car, and I mean to tell you again, it was communicating with me. I felt the strength pouring into me from gazing at that thing. Oh, woo! That's going to be a habit of mine now, y'all. I'm telling you. So I also downloaded and screenshot a crystal ball. I haven't done anything with that one yet, and a few other things. But I'm telling y'all, if you don't have those physical crystals, and also the cards, because I have a deck of crystal cards, and someone else in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, she indicated that she uses cards for some crystals that she doesn't have. And yes, the photographs do have potency, and they do transmit the powers, and so forth and so on. So I urge you to try it. And as far as herbs, I indicated on one of my other videos that I love rosemary. In particular, I'm feeling rosemary, yes indeed, and mint. I've used mugwort. I burned that in one of my spells, and I use some of those in my rituals. I like to use also pine cones in my bathtub, and I use acorns in my bathtub because they come from the oak tree and they're spiritual components of all those things, because everything has energy and we're all one, and everything comes from the same source, and there's nothing that doesn't come from that source energy. Most High is what I call it sometimes, and people perceive the God of the Bible being the God that they embrace, but I'm telling y'all people, the God of the Bible is not the vastness of the Most High and source energy. I mean to tell you, it's limited what you get in that Bible. And yes, the Bible does have some helpful, beneficial things and scriptures and wisdom tips and so forth. But if you're just stuck there, you are limited. Explore beyond that book. Oh my goodness, and meditation is one way to tap into your potential in more vast ways. Enormous downloads happen to us when we meditate on the regular. Neglecting meditation, I do not believe it's in your best interest. It's not a wise practice. Woo! Meditation is foundational. And if the foundation is flimsy, people, then the house is flimsy. So I want to share more later on in part 3, because I don't like to make these things too long. But I thank y'all for listening. Bye now.